It just, thank you. Please go on. Sorry to interrupt you. Please go on, Dr. Shruti.
That's fine. Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Shruti Vijayvargiya. I'm presently based in Florida. I live here with my husband and my 2 kids. And yes, prior to this, I was in India, and I have been a banker for about 10 years there. But now you can say that I'm on a kind of a sabbatical, that now I'm here in Florida as of now, taking care of my family. My kids are small as of now. So yes, it's really nice. It's a first of a kind for me to join a course like this. And yes, I'm really looking forward to getting into a retrospection about myself and, all the things that have happened. And yes, to get the best benefit out of it. And yes, definitely. I'm looking forward to it. And I'm so happy to be amongst all of you. And I'm sure it's going to be a great association with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So you are based in Florida. Can you tell me the time zone right now? What's the time for you?
It's 10 o'clock in the morning. It's perfect.
Good timing then.
Perfect time.
Lovely. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Who will go next? Feel free to raise your hands or unmute yourself, and we'll go one by one. Vasanti, I think you were just joining as I was saying that this is a first session. So let's introduce ourselves, say where we are logging in from, which country, which city, and also our intention of joining this workshop. What is it? What are we wanting from it? Thank you.
Okay, so I'll go next then in that case.
Sure.
Hi everyone, I'm Basanti Harish from Pune, joining from Pune. And I'm a homemaker with looking at various avenues of what to do next. And my main intention of joining this probably would be to have some amount of self-analysis, because I do feel that there are certain mental blocks or some kind of something holding me back in sometimes in some situations. So I'll definitely be interested to know, what these are and how I can handle that, and basically looking at it as a self-improvement journey. That's what it is for me.
Lovely. Thank you for sharing that, Vasanti. Very profound, because this is exactly the crux of this work, that it really helps you to move forward, owning your past and getting empowered from it, and now moving forward. So that will be my intention. I'm writing everybody's intentions down so that, we can do something which is all encompassing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Who can go next? Who will want to share next?
Can I?
Please do.
Yeah. Hi all. I am Divya. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Yeah, I'm Divya. I am from Mumbai, and I'm a doctor by profession, working in Mumbai presently. And reason for joining this workshop is, again, I feel that I have certain mental blocks which I'm carrying from my childhood, and I probably looking at ways to get over those mental blocks. There are certain thoughts which I feel I've been carrying for a very long time, maybe time to get over those blocks.
Very interesting. Thank you for sharing. If I may ask, where did you say you're joining from? Which part? Bombay?
Mumbai, yeah.
Mumbai. And what is your field of working in medicine? Are you a general practitioner?
I'm an oncopathologist.
You're an oncopathologist. Wonderful. A very warm welcome to you, Divya.
Thank you.
Wonderful. So another thing that Divya highlighted was about release. So, release work. Release work is also going to be a huge part of our inner child work. We are carrying a lot of baggage from the past. We are carrying, first of all, it's all about identifying. Some things we are very good at identifying, and there are perhaps certain things which we are not. So thank you for bringing that to the table, Divya. Thank you so much. Who would like to go next? Yes, Vidhu, please do.
Hello, good evening.
Good
My
evening.
name is Vidhu. I am again from Mumbai and I am a doctor by profession. And I've been on this inner child parenting for quite some time, but still there are certain beliefs which need to be released. And I also have certain anger towards my parents, which also needs to be released, which I have been trying to do it, but yes, of course, till now I've not been able to do it completely. So that's how I'm here to do it.
Very profound. Thank you for bringing in that aspect about anger towards parents and being so vocal about it, because a lot of us feel this anger for a lot of people growing up, but our conditioning is such that we are told we are not allowed to feel it, we are not allowed to say it. So it's very, very helpful to hear this aspect also, which is a big part of inner child work. Thank you so much. And if I may ask you, what's your specialty? What's your field of work in medicine?
I am neuroanesthesiologist.
All right. Thank you so much. Wonderful. Who is going next? Please, Mr. Jani, go ahead.
My name is Kujat, surname Jani, age 75. I am twice or thrice retired, first from the Indian Navy, then from USA as a software engineer, and also my own business in merchant Navy. Now I shuttle between India and Chicago. My daughter is here, my son is in India. Basically, I am now pursuing my hobby, that is Toastmasters, public speaking, mentoring people, once in a while going on the TV as a commentator for the defense affairs. And the main purpose of joining this course is my childhood has also been traumatic. There have been peaks and troughs, extreme, the best and the worst of it. And I feel that it is affecting my temperament and my efficiency of work today also. Hence, I thought I joined the course. And I saw your seminar. I witnessed, I participated in your seminar last. And that gave me an impetus that, yes, you have the exact material that I'm looking for. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. You have had a glorious work profile, and you retired from the Navy. So, and I'm sure you have so much to share with us as well. And, you know, inner child work, though, talks about us being children at that time, but inner child work actually goes beyond that. It goes into our younger adult years. It goes into our teenage years. So it is a metaphorical concept. So let's never forget that. When we say metaphorical concept, it's about a part of us, and we call it a time frozen part of us. It's in our psyche, which is our subconscious space. And that actually goes through, and you've had such a variety of experiences. So I'm sure, you know, you obviously have great learnings, but also certain things, as you said, ups and downs and, you know, peaks and troughs, which perhaps we'll do our best to navigate through and get clarity on. And thank you, sir, for sharing that. So,
Thank you.
Wonderful. And who else is going next?
Can I?
Yes, Isha, and then Shruti.
Yeah.
Yes, Isha.
Thanks. Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. So,
Yes.
so I'm
you as
Shesha. Yes. So I'm Shesha. I reside in Bangalore. I've been in Bangalore, born and brought up. So I work as a hardware manager, working on image sensors. And the idea of attending this session is to find out how the inner child can help us develop as an individual.
Okay. Right. Okay, very interesting. Thank you, Sisha. Shruti?
Hello, everyone.
Hello, dear.
So I'm by profession, I'm a retail space designer. And during COVID, I started to work on myself on a path of self-discovery, and I became a happiness researcher somehow and started studying yoga and other aspects. And to my surprise, I just before I could realize, I started taking some sessions on this topic. And I just thought I found purpose of my life by helping others. So I just want to be at the peak of my own best version, mentally and emotionally. And I do realize that, there is a pattern that gets built up as we grow. For example, anything I do, I hear a big no in my head first, that no, I will get hurt. I'll harm myself. Let's not do it. So I understand, I used to hear a lot of no from my father as a kid. Don't cross road, there is traffic, don't do this, you will fall down. And I still feel that pattern is there. So definitely there must be so many other patterns too that needs the work. So I'm really excited and curious, just like a child. And I still feel, I'm a kid. And my friends keep telling me that, you don't behave your age, you're such a kid. So I want to really explore this kid that's inside and become my best version, basically. So that's why I'm here.
So lovely. Thank you so much, Shruti.
Thank
Very
you.
warm welcome. And you're based in Bombay right now as we
Yes.
speak, or are you in Jaipur?
No, I'm in Bombay.
All right, lovely.
And
Yeah,
I love all the sessions done by Dr. Nupur in the past, which I've attended. In fact, today morning I was revising Chakra workshop session 1. And I think 50% reason I'm here is because of you, because I love the way you conduct and how everything is backed up by science and logic. And I really resonate with that. So yes.
Thank you, my dear. Thank you so much.
hello.
Hello, Mr. Nagananda.
Yeah,
Welcome.
yeah. Same here. Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon to everybody. So basically, I'm basically based out of Bangalore. So, and basically the reason is like I have been trying to explore, see somewhere I think like my life started off on a very high. So, but somewhere like down the line, like I was up to about the 5th standard, I was in a co-ed school. I was doing very well. I was appreciated by everybody. My life was always on a high. But all of a sudden, I mean, because I couldn't continue in that school. My father chained me to another premier school in Bangalore. So thinking that I'll develop well and all. But incidentally, I so happened like since childhood, I had some issues of nervousness. I had some body tics and these kind of things. So I started getting like, what do you call, like cajoled or somebody trying to tease me or whatever, like by my friends basically in school. This thing started happening. I'm wondering like, so after that, my life has been like ups and downs. Prior to that, I never knew what fear was. I never knew what failure was. I mean, I was like totally balanced and I never knew negative thinking or anything like that. So somewhere after that, my life has been going up and down, and I've been facing a little bit of, maybe I don't know whether that is the reason I have to explore or anything else also is the reason. So I just want to see whether that is the root cause for my, I mean, I'm having upswings and downswings in my life. So that's what I want to target at.
Okay, all right. So when you mentioned friends and so was it like bullying that you faced at the age of 5, did you say, or later?
Yeah, it was like probably around 5th or 6th standard. So that could be
5th
like
or 6th standard. So you must have been 10, 11 years old that time.
Right.
Okay.
So it was, partially bullying or somebody like constantly trying to cajole me or whatever you call that, like basically trying to pick on me because of that tick I had in I mean, whenever I used to get happy, like excited, happy, or when I used to get angry. So there used to be some tick on the body that used to be very visibly appear. So it has subsided over the period of years, but at that point of time, it was very much visible. So somebody could notice that if I get happy, that I'm pulling some nerves of mine and something like I'm pulling my hands or pulling my fists or taking my fist towards my face or something like that. I used to do that.
Right.
So because of that, I think somebody started picking on me. So I think that started affecting my issues, esteem issues, or something was going on in the background of my mind.
Understood. Thank you for sharing that. And One thing that is something that we must establish at the very beginning of this workshop, it is going to be an intense 3 days, and there will be a follow-up session, but I have a feeling we might have more than one follow-up session, because it's going to be quite a content heavy and an experiential session. There'll be a lot of things for you to go back and try. So we may have a session next week as a follow-up, and then we may have something in December. We'll see how it flows. So these 3 days are going to be slightly intense. Thank you, Nagananda, for sharing. You feel free to, if in between you want to speak something, raise your hands. We have something called a virtual hand raising hands, the yellow hands that you raise on Zoom. Otherwise, we can keep ourselves muted. And if there's anything in between, we can always write a message in the chat as well. Right? So every time to time, I'll be pausing, I'll be taking questions. And it's going to be a very interactive space. So I'll really appreciate for you all to keep your cameras on as much as possible. Secondly, what is really important is confidentiality. Because this is a topic that people will be sharing a lot of their childhood issues, a lot of our personal journeys will be shared in this space. So something I really want all of us is to value and respect each other's sharings. So please be very non-judgmental, please be very respectful, and also very discreet. Let us not share anything that is shared in this workshop with anybody else. That's really important. We will be sharing the recordings of this, and this is in complete faith that you will not be handing the recordings to anybody else or sharing them with anybody else. Yeah, so these are certain things which we are hoping we can establish as a group. The WhatsApp group that we have created is for all of us to share. This is a space that you can write on. You have any sharings, you have any suggestions, you have any questions, please use WhatsApp group, right? And we are all in different time zones. So whenever I'm around, whenever I'm up and about, I will definitely be checking that every day. Almost for the next 1 to 2 months till we conclude this workshop. So it's really, really important for us to participate fully. And finally, it's really important to understand that inner child is a journey. Inner child healing is a journey. Some of us have already started that journey. Some of us are very new to this journey. Right? So my intention will be to introduce you to this aspect of yourself, to start the healing process and to be with you to whatever extent I can possibly be. But also know that there is no end to this work. A lot of times we can untangle the knots very quickly. Sometimes it takes a little while. So what's really important, and which is a huge part of our inner child work, is being very patient with ourselves and being very kind to ourselves. So whatever we are going to be doing is with a lot of love, with a lot of kindness, and with a lot of patience towards ourselves. And we are going to be doing a lot of work on self-love as well. Self-love is a huge part of inner child healing. Reparenting, somebody mentioned, and reparenting is something I also talked about in the workshop. We are going to be doing that. We are going to be understanding what it means to be a parent to our own selves. Also, in terms of reparenting, something was coming to my mind, but I will share that. What's really important for us is to keep a journal through this workshop, a diary or a journal where you can write your thoughts down, where you can write down things that we discuss, right? It's really important because there'll be so much that will be shared with you that you might get a little overwhelmed unless you write things down. Of course, you'll have the recording to go back to, but please make notes, right? I will be sharing meditations with you. Some days you'll be able to do them. Some days maybe the session 2 would have or session 3 would have started. Don't worry. You'll have the rest of the days and the weekend to come, and then we will do a follow-up to catch up on, right? So the pace might be a little hectic, but don't worry. We will have enough follow-ups. I announced only 1 follow-up, but I think we'll have 2 follow-ups. And finally, what I wanted to say is that if you haven't watched the recording of the inner child session that I had conducted fully, please do watch it. Because a lot of concepts certain fine points, fine nuances will get cleared up, and you will actually understand what I'm talking about. There are certain things which I may not go back and explain again. So whenever you have time, you please go back to that YouTube video. It was done on a Saturday. You'll find it on Mindful Living YouTube channel. And if in case you don't know, there is something called speed of a video. You can enhance the speed and you can watch it very quickly. So if you don't have enough time, you can make it 1.25x or 1.5x, and you can watch it quickly as well. Right? So do make a point that you watch that video as well during these days, whenever you have time. Yeah, if you haven't already. All right. So on that note, thank you once again for your presence, your participation, taking the time out for yourself. Actually, the biggest thing that you should do is to yourself. Because if this is the biggest, I feel, gift that we can all give ourselves, is this time and this energy to actually reconnect with the joy of being you. And that is the workshop, that is the title of the workshop, and that is my intention, that we all connect with ourselves, feeling very safe, feeling very loved, and feeling very joyful, and leading the rest of our lives with that energy. Right? I have a few questions that I would, so okay, one more thing. On the questionnaire, some of you have sent it to me, some of you have not sent the questionnaire out to me. So please do send it by tomorrow morning. It is very important for me to understand where each of you are coming from. I actually didn't want to take more than 10 participants in this workshop because I wanted it to be a very personalized experience for all of us, so that I know exactly where each of you are coming from, right? And that's my intention. By God's grace, we literally got 10 participants. So it is something that, we put out your intention in the universe and that happens. So it's really important that you take that time, fill in the questionnaire, and please send it across. I'll be very, very, I go through each questionnaire with a lot of details, and I will also reply back to you. So, I'm yet to go through all of yours, but I will be doing later tonight. It's only 3:30 for me. I still have an evening left, so I'll be doing some more work on this. I would really want you all to go through the next set of questions, and it's an exhaustive list. I want you to look at each of these questions. There are 10. And see whether any of these resonate with you. These are more like a yes and no question. Yeah. And you can also say that to some extent, sometimes. So let me read out one question to you, and you'll get an idea of what I'm saying. As a child, did you really have to try and work hard to seek approval of your parents or your carers or any other well-meaning adults in your life? Now, the answer is question could be yes. It could be no. It could be very often, that a lot of times you had to work very hard to seek approval, to get that yes from your parents. And the second part of the same question is, as an adult, do you feel you're a people pleaser? Now, why is that important? There is a connection between, and this is something very important for all of us to understand, is that a lot of things that have happened to us growing up in our younger years, in our early 20s or mid-20s, actually have created our personalities, right? So ask yourself, am I a people pleaser? Am I always looking for validation? Or am I striving to be a perfectionist? Now, if this is a personality trait that you identify in yourself, then it's worth going back to the top of the question and asking yourself, are there any roots in my childhood that I see of this trait? So I have given you both the inner child experience as well as an adult manifestation of that. So see if any of these resonate with you, and go through all of these questions slowly. This is an uncovering that we are doing today. Today's session is going to be more of understanding in how much deep waters we are, so that we can appropriately rise above that. If anybody has any question, I'm going to be around. Feel free to unmute yourselves and ask me the question.
Dr. Nupur, I have a small query. Is it okay to have a yes for one of the questions and a no for the other?
Yes,
That is
absolutely.
also correct, right? Like, for example, for the first question, I feel it's a no. But for the second, I feel somewhere it is yes. So am I confused, or is it okay to have?
Absolutely. So then what exactly? It's absolutely possible that you say yes for the second part. And perhaps that is a reflection for you to ask yourself, where has this come from? Has this come from somewhere in my childhood that I may not be aware of? Or has this come somewhere during my teen years or my early adult years? Where has it come from? It definitely has roots somewhere in our subconscious,
Got
right?
it. Sure.
So it may not be that you were as a child, it was not your parents, but it could have been somebody else. So, the lead up, we will find out later, but just yes, go ahead. And this is a very self introspective. I'm not going to be asking you the answers to each of these questions. So feel free and we'll discuss it afterwards. And so there are actually 3 slides and we will go to each slide one at a time. These are the first 4 questions. Yes, Nagananda, please go ahead.
Yeah, doctor. Basically, in terms of like this question, like even in the first question or like the third one, trying to throw tantrums, like basically, it was in different scenarios. Like suppose, say, I needed something like, say, related to clothes or anything that is the basic things. It was pretty much given to me, or whatever was more than adequate to my liking. But if I wanted to go and play or something like that, then there used to be some, my father was not very, was not very much approval of me going and playing, and he was trying to insist that I go and study or something like that.
Yes.
So
Yes.
at
So
that
you can
point
say sometimes. You can say sometimes. So this is something which is very, as I said, it's a very introspective questionnaire. That means it's for us to understand, where am I coming from? Did I have to throw a tantrum? Not always. Yes, sometimes I had to throw. Does it have any impact on my adult self presently? An adult self, I mostly mean in the present scenario. If
Okay.
yes, then it definitely is something that we need to work on. So this is a questionnaire to unfold those aspects of us that we need to start working on deeply, right?
Okay. Like as I was telling you, like this aspect of mine, like this sometimes thing, like a tantrum that I needed to throw for going out to play or something. I'm not sure whether it is subconsciously affecting my present life or not. That I'm not clear on that.
Yeah, so the second half of the question will help you to understand. And if it is not, then you can just leave it there. You don't
Okay.
have to. If the second half of the question resonates with you, then definitely there is a link. If it doesn't, then you can leave it at that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So start from the beginning and go one question at a time, and then we'll discuss towards the end.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's see who else has raised. Sesha.
Yeah. So on the first question, I had one concern. So at times there has been reasons to strive and also be a perfectionist, but over a period of time we start losing out on it. Is that a normal thing?
We'll come to all the detailed discussion later on, Sesha. Just go
Sure,
through
sure.
the questionnaire
Okay, sure.
and we'll go through it. I'll give you 2-3 minutes to go through these 4 questions, and then I'll change the slide to the next 3 questions. All right, let's go to the next slide. You can also take screenshots of these questions. Suppose.
Dr. Nupur, sorry to interrupt again. Like for the fourth question, this one not capable or not good enough. It was not told by my parents, but somebody in the school, some teacher or somebody, I remember having said that. So
Then
that
you can
is
say yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes, because I'm not always know in inner child work, or as I said, it's metaphorical. It doesn't have to be only parents. Anytime
Okay.
this message was given to you growing up, then it's a yes for sure.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the next section. Next slide. These are the next 3 questions. Yeah, Sesha?
Yeah, also, do we get the slide deck as part
No.
of this? No? Okay.
Just take the screenshot of the questions if you wish to.
Sure.
Let's go to the next 3 questions. And these are the last set of questions. If any of you have missed it, just raise your hands and then I'll go back to that particular deck. Taking another minute, then we will discuss. All right. So let's, anybody left to still do it, or we are good to stop? Everybody's cleared it? Wonderful. Okay, wonderful. So any thoughts on these questions? Would anybody like to share and discuss anything new that was revealed, or anything perhaps that you felt that was not covered in these questions? There were 10 questions. And what was the key thing that came across for you from this questionnaire? Yes, please go ahead, Mr. Jan.
The questions have tried to unearth the inner child, as you say, how my impressions of childhood were, what were my experiences from the parents, the teachers, and the society in my growing up. And while I grew up, what are these impacts? What are these impressions? Sometimes loosely, sometimes very, very strongly, we were brainwashed, sort of, that you are not good, or you are very good, or you expect this, we expect this. Bully. Now, this is exactly, these are the things which form our personality. And these are exactly the questions that I ask myself so many times when I sit down, not in meditation, but at least with cool mind, when I introspect myself. So why am I throwing tantrums at this age also for such a small matter, when the whole world is going on non-bothered?
Yes.
And I pick up fights for the others sometimes. Or am I too sensitive for certain things,
Right.
that I get into trouble? So these are the questions which exactly I have been asking myself.
Very interesting. And you found some resonance with what you have been going through and these questions.
Absolutely.
So there was some. Okay, that's interesting to know. And would you say that 50 to 60% of the questions you would have answered yes to?
About, yeah, it's almost 80%.
Okay, sir. Thank you. That was very interesting to hear. Anybody else would like to share what their experience of these questions was? Anything particularly that stood out for you, or perhaps was not in those questions that you would want to talk about? Yes, Shruti?
While the yes to most of the questions are very rare, I was very confident till the end that, okay, there is not much to deal with. But the last question was quite a revelation when it asked if there is anything wrong with me. And to that was a yes, that yes, at some level, I feel while everything is good, but whatever battles are there, big or small, I do have that awareness that this is because of me, there is something wrong within me. So I'm just thinking right now that why did that yes just came so easily. That was a good discovery.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Hold on to that question. Don't let go of that question, Shruti, because certain times these questions help us to really move forward. This is literally like that that wooden stick that a drowning man holds on to for dear life, and that saves the life of a person. So, hold on to that question. Some of these questions we call are twigs, because they help to draw out things internally and release them. Also, this is really important to understand that a lot of times we get into a victim mode. in our lives, we get victimized. We feel that we are a victim and life happened to me. My growing up years, I was a victim of so much. Our intention of this workshop is to go from a victim mode into a victor mode. Is our intention is to understand that, what? Yes, life happened. Yes, there were challenges, but now I am going to take the responsibility to heal and to come out of those challenges. Because I don't want to spend one more day staying in that space of feeling traumatized or not feeling enough or feeling something is wrong or something is off, right? So for you, I would just say, stay with that question and see where is this I'm not enough coming from, and then we'll go deeper into that. Yeah. Anybody else would like to share any insights? Yes, sorry, your hand was up, Mr. Jani, please go.
One aspect that you may have added was hereditary traits. The effect of hereditary traits on the psychology of a person.
Yes.
I mean, just
and the reason we
passing
don't
thought.
do the reason we don't do hereditary traits here is because that takes a lot of epigenetics work to be understood. So we go into details of epigenetics, but we will go upon certain things that get passed on from generation to generation. Actually, if you listen back to that talk, I have mentioned that a lot of our inner child trauma is generational, the Saturday talk. Why is that generational? Because the people who created that environment for us, they themselves had received that kind of conditioning from their elders, from their society. So it's a very generational, and it is definitely a very conditioned thing. So there is a generational response, but it doesn't matter. The reason why it doesn't matter is because the moment we start healing and the moment we start forgiving and letting go, that moment we set the cycle, a reset cycle of events. And it'll be something very beautiful that will unfold when we do the forgiveness work. So we are going to be doing the forgiveness work in session 3. So we'll come to that. Right? I'll also
Thank you.
give you, yes, thank you. Thank you. Yes, Shruti, please go ahead. Dr. Shruti.
Yeah, I must say these questions are very interesting, and as it helped me to really retrospect, and I really went back and was thinking very deeply on what was it. The first question was, it was basically not because I didn't feel good enough, but it was more out of a fear of isolation, that you
Okay.
try to fit in. You try to fit in.
Yes.
That is what maybe wants to make you a people's pleaser.
Yes.
Because you cannot expect to find people who think alike all the time, and I greatly appreciate that diversity, and I have nothing against that. But it so happens that if you don't think like a certain set of people, they don't want you. It's a common cycle, and we are social beings. We cannot live alone. So it is more of a fear of an isolation, that you seek a validation, is what I have gone through. And coming to the second one, yes, that apology thing, I have seen that happen to me. I do that most of the time. But I can trace it back to my roots, because in my family, there is a lot of emphasis for saying sorry and thank you. Okay, you've done something for me. It's like not, I don't know how to explain. I'm so great. Yeah, I'm so happy you did this for me. Thank you. And sorry. It's more of, making the other person feel not being taken for granted. Like somebody has done something for me. My husband has made me a cup of tea. I want to express my gratitude and just not, pick up the tea and just sip it and not show that I don't even appreciate what he's done. So that sorry and thank you comes out so frequently, like, you don't want the other person to feel bad, or feel that you have not noticed what the person has done. So I do not know how that fits into the inner child thing, but I'm just giving you a perspective that I normally feel on this. And yes, the looks part of it, I feel after pregnancies, it so happens after a pregnancy, that you lose your body shape. And for various reasons, I was deep in work and I was not able to work on it at the right time. And of course, I'm still trying every day. But it was not because of anybody ever told me, okay, you're not good looking enough or something. And this happens with women, you want to look your best, and that comes naturally to us. So that's what I was just trying to see how I can connect it back to the childhood part in this.
So these are the questions. So also when you're saying a sorry a lot of times, it necessarily is conditioned into us to be a good thing. But that's for all of us to introspect that, is it a good thing or not? Because a lot of times we take on responsibilities and mistakes which are not ours, and we start to own those, you know. So there are very blurred boundaries. There are no emotional boundaries. There are no physical boundaries. People are very quick to trespass on our personal boundaries if we don't have a clear-cut space of a yes or no. So for you, I would say that, you know, really come down to your present life challenges. Ask yourself, what is it that I really feel stuck in? What are my patterns? So one of the key ways of understanding how is this having roots in my younger self. So sometimes I'm going to use the word younger self instead of inner child. So my younger self, how is it related to my younger self? What is my current pattern of challenges? And what do we mean by pattern? I keep attracting the same experience again and again. It could be a rejection. It could be a difficult challenge. It could be a problem that is happening again and again. So anything that is happening repeatedly, it's a pattern either in your life situation or in your personal personality trait. That is a sign that there is a underlying connection with our inner self, right? And don't be very quick to validate the values that we have grown up with. Sometimes the value systems that we have grown up with don't resonate with the truth of who we are. They may be interesting as a society conditioning, and that's what was told to you. Like sometimes the conditioning was that boys don't cry, and you are not a man if you feel weak. And a lot of families have had this, you know. But now, if that is a conditioned thing that has happened to you, it is actually preventing you from being emotionally emotive with your partner, with your spouse, with your children. You can't express yourself emotionally. So don't always feel the conditioning that we have received from our families is perfect because our parents are perfect, right? So this is the time to slightly introspect that, you know, is this really productive or is this sometimes counterproductive? So those are the kind of questions we can ask. Anybody else? Would love to hear from Divya, Vidhu, Vasanti, Sesha. How was this experience of these questions? Anything that came out, anything that you perhaps felt was a miss?
So may I?
Please
I'm
go
Vidhu
ahead.
speaking.
Yes,
So
Vidhu.
the initial 2 slides which you showed, they were like no for me, but the last slide which you said was all yes. And I'm the elder child, and I was taking responsibility of my younger sibling. So I guess most of it comes from there. You know, it was forced on, and I never realized that I'm taking the responsibility of a younger sibling.
Very interesting. And what is your current challenge, Vidhu, if I may ask, that you are feeling? Any present life situation that has manifested from those younger self, younger child, younger self issues?
So if I say the truth, right now I don't have any challenge at all.
Okay.
I've just been working on myself since many years. The only thing which I'm not able to do is come clean with my parents. I still, you know, I'm on very good terms with them. I keep talking to them. But there are times I feel very angry. And
So there is
sometimes that
anger.
anger is towards my own younger brother also. So that
Yes.
anger needs to be resolved. Yeah. So
So
that is what
that is the
I've been
main.
doing it. I think I've been able to do it to quite an extent, but still it's there. So whatever it is there, I need to release it. I need to resolve it because they did whatever
Very, very
they
interesting.
knew at that time, and
Yes.
it's not their fault. Like, they did whatever they knew was the best
So
for me at that
consciously,
point
you're
of time.
definitely aware. Yes, that consciously that
Absolutely.
is
Consciously,
something,
I'm aware, but
but
subconsciously,
somewhere you're
I'm
still
not
carrying that.
able to release that. Yes, yes. It comes out, you know, everything will be okay. And suddenly one day I'll feel very angry. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Clearly, that is a burden that you are carrying, and that's something that needs to be released. Thank you so much for sharing that with you. Yes, Divya's, okay, Sesha has unmuted himself, so we'll come to Sesha and then come to
Thanks.
Divya.
Okay. So there was one concern that I'm trying to figure out or to find out where this falls in. So let's say a child takes a responsibility that because of the frugal background that the child has, understanding a single parent is supporting the family. So he or she does not go ask their parents for toffee. I mean, it may start from a toffee, or it could be a toy, or it could be something else. So is that falling under the banner of responsibility, or it is something different?
So are you trying to say that when the child is taking responsibility for the family, is that what you're saying? That,
Right.
that
So by understanding the situation of the parents.
yes. Yes.
So it's,
Yes. So the thing is, a child cannot be expected to be a parent. This is something we all must understand, right? A child has his or her limitations, and when they are growing up, if they are playing a part, as you said, of a single parent missing a partner, and if they're trying to fill a vacuum of a father or a mother, then clearly that shows that that's a burden on the child's psyche, and the child will not know how to process that, and they will have their own interpretations, they will have their own perceptions, and that's what will become their coping mechanism, right? And unless the child realizes this, they will carry it in some form or the other, right? So see, that's why you have to see, for some people, it's absolutely fine. They become givers. They become very, very unconditional giving individuals. And there's nothing wrong with giving, but if it's not balanced with taking, then it becomes toxic. That means you are so close to receiving that you feel that you can't receive, and you have a block of receiving, and you're only a giver because you only know how to take care. You don't know how to receive care, how to receive love. And that manifests in its own ways, in very difficult ways, right? So it depends. But if a child is meant to be doing the role of a parent, it's not healthy. It is definitely, it might be needed because for the lack of means, but it's not healthy, and that needs healing. That needs to be understood. Yeah.
thanks.
Yes, let's go to Vidhu first,
So,
and then we go to
may I just say that this is how I realized, till quite many years in my life, I wasn't ready to take any support or help. And I would keep wondering, why is no help or support coming to me? Because I was not receptive. I didn't know how to take help. And that's the thing, how I realized that why am I like that? That was my first point of realizing that why am I like this? Why can't I take the help or ask for help, or being receptive to help? And that's how I came into this journey, and it's been like more than 20 years now when I realized why what went on. So the answer to, I think, Sesha, is that a child is not meant to take on responsibility of a parent.
Exactly. And thank you so much for saying that, Vidhu, because when you are saying no to receiving, you will not receive. You'll be surprised. The help will be there. Come to your neighbor, it won't come to you. And you'll be wondering why, because you have to understand all of this is energy. Everything is energy. What we are giving out is what we are receiving. So as we go deeper into the workshop, I'll explain to you the concept of energy, right? And we'll understand that if I'm not vibrating at the level which is conducive to receiving, I will not receive. I will only keep pushing away, because internally there is a no. So internally there has to be a yes to receive, only then I will receive things, right? So there is something definitely deeper, and that's exactly what Vidhu said. She realized that she had to do this, and that's when it started to happen. Yes, Vasanti, please share. Please unmute yourself.
Yeah. So I found yes for some of the adult situations, like in terms of being a people pleaser. Typically, most of my I think I've realized that till recently I used to always put the other person's interest first before mine, or even in matters of opinion, I always thought others were right more than my natural instinct. But I could not relate it to a childhood in terms of seeking approval. I mean, I don't recall actually actively doing that. Then another thing was, One part about communication, I think maybe is not there in the question, that suppose you do not feel the important enough to state your point of view, say in a social situation, you feel, am I interesting enough, or what does what I have to say have any merit? Such doubts do crop up. So I remember having that as a child as
Self-doubt.
well. Self-doubt, yes.
Yes, exactly. So that is that comes under the category of self-doubt, that when you are doubting yourself, that you don't think that your opinion matters. You don't think you're
Yes.
worthy enough that your point of view and your opinion matters. Yeah.
Yes, that
That's
is something
absolutely.
I can connect with, because I felt that way quite a few times. And
Yes.
And the very last question also, it was almost an immediate yes for me. I mean, in the terms of, is there something wrong with me? Yes, I have even asked myself that question sometimes, because in terms of feeling, maybe I doubted whether I'm nurturing enough sometimes towards family and loved ones. And it's a fact that I don't really miss people so much, in the sense, when my children went away to study, I mean, I didn't really cry or anything. I knew they were there, they're fine. And whereas I've heard my friends say, they were crying and all that. So I have wondered, is there something missing in me that, this is happening? So yeah, so I could, connect with that last question. So yeah, these are some of my experiences.
Yes.
And and also that point about low self-worth, connecting to being told you're not good enough in childhood. I mean, it was not being told you're not good enough, but maybe not being told you're good a number of times. I mean, things were taken like it was a matter of fact that you're doing well. So, it's not really pointed out. So, that could be something which can be done in childhood. Celebrate the successes.
Yes, that's so powerful. In fact, one or two questions I actually wrote, it's if it is verbal or implied. Now, this is a very important thing, because a lot of things were not said, but they were implied. And what do we mean by implied? Exactly what Vasanti said, that yes, you were never appreciated for anything good that you did, but you were definitely reprimanded for something that you didn't do, which you were supposed to do. Or whatever you did was taken for granted, that this is exactly the way it's supposed to be. So why appreciate? There was not much appreciation. There was not much recognition, or there was constant comparisons. Right? Now, when there are constant comparisons, that doesn't mean that you are not good enough, but for the child or for the younger person, it feels that they are being judged, that they feel they're not enough, right? So these are implied things. So not every message that we receive is direct. A lot of it gets implied. That means that's what implied means. It appears so, but it was never said in so many words. Why is that important? Because we are energy beings. We understand, we sense, and we intuit. And not everything needs to be said out aloud to us. So that's something and children are very receptive energetically. They are very, very receptive. So things children pick up are things which probably were not even told to them, but they picked it up because of the energy and the vibration of the environment. Thank you so much for pointing that out. All right, so let's go to Divya. And between these questions and the questionnaire I sent you, the only point of these is to really sit today and uncover. Between today's session and tomorrow's session, the whole point is to uncover and realize not all of us have worked on inner child. So this is to come face to face with what we need to heal. Accept those parts of us fully, instead of putting them under the carpet and validating them. It's time to now embrace those parts and heal them, right? That's between this and the questionnaire that has sent to you. Please spend some time. Yeah, Divya.
Yes, so what I realized was that I'm not a people pleaser, but most of the time my pattern is whenever I'm interacting, I feel that other person should not feel bad. It's not like I'm trying to please someone. It's like I want to be kind to that person. So what happens is, I think I'm more kind to others, but I'm very, very harsh on myself. Be anything, like anything academic, or it's like, now if I look at me, my parents, they ever indicated this, or something like that? No, I don't think I was ever told that. But somehow as a child also, I wanted to be that, perfect, where, like, I think assumed somewhere that it will make them happy. They should not get hurt, or they should not feel bad about it, or I should not be a burden. But since I'm the, like, eldest, so always trying to take responsibilities. I will not say that my parents forced it upon me. I think it's somewhere I always tend to take that responsibility on my own, and it's happening now also, wherein, like, in all my interactions, I try to give 100% more than sometimes 100% also. But then you get disappointed when there is you feel that you've been kind of used. So this pattern, it keeps repeating for me in different spheres of life. And I don't know, we talked about hereditary. Somehow I never wanted this to be there in my son, but I don't know, maybe in my patterns or my behavior, I think that even he is, like, picking up on the same thing, but tend to again, you're not getting validation. It's like you want to be kind to that other person, that the other person should not feel bad about something. And then at the end of it, then you start wondering, is there something wrong with me? Like, am I trying to live in a too ideal world? Or next time you decide, okay, no, I'm not going to be to behave like this. I will have a certain boundary. But then again, you cross that boundary, and it's like this cycle keeps going on.
Exactly, and that's the pattern. Now, certain things that you mentioned here were very powerful, and what you said, that it was not parents. Yes, it was not parents, but it was life situation. It was a life circumstance where you were the elder child, where things were implied rather than verbally told to you. You grew up believing that, yes, because I'm the oldest and I'm the elder one, I have to shoulder responsibility. And so don't be very quick to it's not just about parents, it's about the entire I would say the entire biosphere that we grew up in, right? Somewhere you have picked up this tendency, and the biggest thing that you mentioned here was the kindness and the gentleness that you have for other people, which is 10 on 10, is perhaps 0 or maybe 2 on 10 for yourself. So you are very harsh with yourself. Your self-talk is very harsh. You're not as kind and compassionate to yourself. Now, all of these things are some of the learned behaviors which we absorb subconsciously and unconsciously in our life situation or life challenge, right? So clearly this is a pattern, and unless corrected, you're absolutely right, this pattern will continue to be getting infused. So now is the time for us to understand and intercept this. And that's what I'm going to be talking about, a concept called self-sabotage. Just after we've listened from Nagananda and Vasanti, then we'll talk about self-sabotage, and we'll understand why is this work so important.
And another thing is, like, I think another pattern which I carry is, like, again, from childhood, I somehow believe that if you take some help from somebody, it's sign of weakness. So it's like, now it's somewhere down the line you want some support also, you want help also, but somehow it doesn't turn up, doesn't happen. So again, maybe like, I think again it was mentioned that you are not ready to probably receive it, because I think I always carried this thought that, okay, I'm the superwoman and I can do everything, and if you ask for help, and then it's a kind of shame or weakness. So, and then somehow you don't, I think then you don't get it also. You somehow then don't get the
Exactly.
help also.
You're absolutely right.
So,
And that's what Vidhu has actually shared with us, that, see, the thing is that a lot of times we are such givers, or, that we are meant to be, we are told that, this is our responsibility to make everybody else happy, to be very, very subdued so that we are not ruffling feathers. Everybody needs to be happy, everybody needs to be content, and doesn't matter what you are thinking and feeling, that's not put into light. And then also for you, because you were the older one, you were the giver. So that means for you, the receiving element was almost negligible. And when you say that, what, no, I can handle it all, I can do it all, you somewhere reject the help that is needed, because your vibration is that I'm more a giver than, and it's not okay to receive. Now, I want, Nagananda will just come to you, but as we are all discussing this is really important, because what happens is when we work as a group, what Divya has said, you may have not thought of, but because you've listened from her, you can actually think back, oh, is this something that is true to me? And you'll be amazed. 8 out of 10 times, everything in the group that is shared resonates with all of us, because this is a group that has come together for a reason. It's not an accident. So, we are all going to be transcending all of this together, and it'll benefit all of us. So just trust the process and hang in there. Yes, Nagananda, please share.
Yeah, Dr. Nupur. Yeah, like right now, I totally resonate with what Divya ma'am was just telling. Even I have the same issues, like probably because I was always like since my childhood, like I was always considered to be the best or whatever, like these kind of things were given by my parents and people around me. So sometimes when I'm struggling or something happens in life, I find it difficult to ask support, like is there an opportunity or some kind of a referral I want from my friend. I really hesitate to ask them, like how will I be perceived upon and will I get help or not. So this also is something that is strongly there happens with me. And sometimes I keep wondering, like, why is it like I help everybody, nobody's trying to come and help me. So this feeling starts happening to me, like, and sometimes it goes into a negative spiral sometimes. So I'm trying to overcome that. Another thing I just wanted to ask is like this question with feeling abandoned or emotional needs, right? So basically what happened is, when I was growing up, like my mother was basically working. So she was working in a bank. So she used to be, I mean, the bank work in the past, like maybe 70s, 80s, around even up till 90s, it used to be pretty hectic because everything was manual. So by the time she used to return from bank, she didn't have the energy. So I was pretty much grew up under the care of my grandmother and my mother's mother and my aunt, my mother's elder sister. So basically they supplemented my mother very well. So but still I did not have that emotional connect with my mother for a long time, in the sense until like I started going to college and she had quit her job, and she was pretty much there with me until that point. I did not have that. Even till date, I lost both my parents.
Yes, go on.
So I'm missing my father more than my mother. My father is there, at least I would feel like he would have given some perspective, would have helped me. अगर माँ होती तो क्या okay, she's an emotional support, ज्यादा से ज्यादा खाना खिला देती, उससे ज्यादा होता. I feel
so
my
you
father
have
would...
this anger. Do you feel anger towards her, or do you feel a complete lack of emotions towards her?
No, I don't know. I mean, I don't think so. There's so much of anger, but initially I had that anger, but later I thought like I could relate to that thing. Like, okay, she had a thing going on because
Okay, so
how the
you have
family
justified to yourself. You have made sense and you have justified the
family
situation to
needed the
yourself.
financial support. So when she
Yes.
was supposed to work and along with my father, so that's why she was putting her effort. That I could, as I
Yes.
matured, I could understand that, right? Basically.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah.
That's fine. That's absolutely okay. So you have to understand that there is always a rational side in us. We must understand that there are parts to our personality, and this is something which we must all understand, that these parts of our personalities are some of them are psyche, which are childlike. Some of them are rational adult, and some of these are the adult who's still suffering from the repercussions. So for in exactly what Nagananda has said, a part of us makes sense And a part of us is trying to see the logic in the situation and is trying to make say and tell us that, why are you feeling bad? Why are you feeling abandoned? She was doing something very important for the family. Money had to be earned. You were educated to a great extent. You had the life you had is because your mom was working. But the child in you is not always happy with that answer. They still miss their mom. And somewhere they always feel that lack and that emotional disconnect. And perhaps you never know the tics that you had as a child growing up. Nagananda, you mentioned about certain body tics. You had some nervous, impulses. We don't know if the child developed those because there was a lack of security, because the nurturing energy in the house of a mom really is about security. It's about a sense of nourishment. So, these are the things for you. Don't try to rationalize. Now that you're in this workshop, don't rationalize just for these 2-3 days. Let the wounds come up. Let the pain come up. And because once it comes up, we can heal it. Otherwise, you'll keep it suppressed, giving it a rational twist. Oh, I understand. Oh, I this. But yes, the very fact that you spoke about this tells us that there is some healing that needs to be done here. There is some acceptance and there is some letting go. There is some forgiveness that needs to be done, right? The very fact that these issues are coming up for all of us means there is something that they need to be seen under a holistic light, right? And self-sabotage is something I want all of us to understand. When we are thinking of being a perfectionism, because I did mention that thing of being perfectionism or doing things for other people, being very, very fitting in the social structure, is considered to be a very good thing in our society. It is validated, is accepted, but actually these are all parts of what we call sabotaging behaviors. Perfectionism, my friends, is not something to be very proud of. Perfectionism has to be rethought. Because if we don't realize what perfectionism is doing to us, it will do the same thing to our children and to our younger colleagues, to our younger friends. And this is something we have to understand. So what does self-sabotage mean? Self-sabotage means when you are becoming your own worst enemy, you're doing things which are actually creating more discomfort, more damage, rather than help you to live life fully. And one of those things is imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome means when you feel you are a fraud. You feel that, oh yes, I don't belong here. I am, imposter syndrome is typically when people think I don't deserve what I have in my life. I am not good enough. That's that feeling. That is a self-sabotaging feeling. Wanting to be a perfect human being, wanting to fit in. That's self-sabotage, not accepting your unique points, right? So from now on, I want you to start asking yourself, how am I self-sabotaging? What is it that I am doing that is being counterproductive, that is coming in the way of me living truthfully? Because when we self-sabotage, we want to say no, but we say yes. And we say yes because it is more appropriate to keep peace. But actually, we want to say no. Actually, we don't want to do it, but we still do it. Right? So all of these are things which we must understand. And some of them will have roots deeper in childhood. Some of them will have roots in our youth. Some of them will have roots in behaviors that we have picked up from our environment. Because we were mimicking the behaviors of our parents, teachers, and society. So we have just infused and absorbed them without challenging them, right? Now, having gone through, hopefully, these questions I'm going to be putting up on the chat. You'll have the list of these questions. Sesha had asked if I'm sharing the deck. I'm not sharing the deck, Sesha, but I'm going to be sharing the 10 questions with you all on the group chat. I'll make a PDF and I'll share it. Go over them again if you need to. The questionnaire I had sent, please go over them again. And now that you have come up with certain things, I want you to really write down what is it about you that you would want to shift. I am a people pleaser. I am a perfectionist. I feel something is lacking in my life. I always say yes when I want to say no. things that I am trying to, I'm not good at receiving. I am very harsh with myself. I feel these outbursts of rage and anger in me. I am still very, very fearful. Be very honest. I feel something is lacking. Make a list of all of these traits about yourself, because very soon we are going to topple them over. We are going to bust these myths. We are going to remove these things. And the technique that we are going to be using them, I'm going to tell you right now. But this is going to be a process. So we are going to go tomorrow also into the same space. Yes, Sesha?
Yeah, so when we talked about outburst and then also discussing about lacking something in life, right? So it could be a duality. I mean, with near ones, we behave differently, but working in a professional life or working with others who are not close to us, then we behave differently. So how do we consider these things?
You consider these things by asking yourself, is the difference in my behavior stark enough to warrant a shift? Or I feel that this is something very normal. This is something which is a very, very, I'm very comfortable doing. Basically, you're trying to say that I'm something with somebody else and I'm not that person who I am. So this is something you need to ask yourself, why, what is stopping you from being your authentic self wherever you are? Is there a fear of judgment? Is there a fear of intimacy? Are you scared that if you reveal this side of you, that you will be judged, or you may be heartbroken, or you may feel you may come across as weak? Because a lot of times in our work situation, they say that people who are expressive, who are emotionally expressive, even the fact people who are grateful. So I do a lot of corporate coaching, and when I do webinars on gratitude, I get to hear from senior executives, if I'm grateful for the job that my team is doing, then I will give a signal that, that this is not their job, that they're doing a favor on me. That I want to give the impression that, no, this is your job, you better be doing this. Why should I be grateful to my team? But that's exactly the behavior that we need to flip. Because gratitude, being comfortable, being kind, is not something that is you can switch on or off. That is, if you're deciding when to be grateful and when not to be kind, and when to be kind, that means there's a part of you that is fearful that, if I am grateful, then they will not perform. That I need to be a hard task master. I need to be harsh to get my work done. That's a belief system. And that's a very big self-sabotaging belief system. That for me to make things move, I have to be very harsh. If I'm kind to my team, then they will think I'm soft, I'm weak. Kindness is associated with weakness. Gratitude, being soft, is associated with the sign of weakness. So these means you have to go deeper and introspect. What are my belief systems? Why am I believing like? Am I scared? Am I fearful? So go deeper and ask yourself. Yes, Naganand.
Basically, I mean, coming back to what Mr. Sesha was raising, point, like, thing is with respect to, like, yeah, I do, I mean, from where he's coming from, I can understand. See, basically, it's the difference, like how you would relate to a very childhood friend. You're probably mostly talking to them on singular terms. But whereas your corporate colleague that you would have befriended them, like probably like 2-3 years ago, you're always constantly self-checking yourself, like in terms of whether I speak this, how will I perceive? Will it impact my work, or will it impact a relationship?
Yes.
Whereas with a childhood friend, like, I mean, you're
You can be
you're
more
pretty much
yourself.
yourself. Yeah. So your
Yes.
authentic self is there. So sometimes we are all camouflaged by this social conditioning. So so how does it actually impact us, like, basically?
It definitely impacts our life, because then we are not being our authentic true self, right? We are not being our authentic and true self. So you have to ask yourself, what is it that is making me feel insecure? Why am I not so confident of myself that I need to be guarded? So it's different to be formal, and it's different to be guarded. Being formal is something you can be with your colleagues you have met. But that doesn't mean you change and flip your personality totally differently. And if that's happening, that means there is some self-confidence issue, that there is some self-worth issue, and that needs to be addressed. Because being formal, of course, we are all formal with our work colleagues. We don't go around telling them what holiday we went to, what did we do, how our mothers and our partners are. Of course, we create, that is called having boundaries. It's healthy to have professional boundaries, right? But sometimes when you are completely, double checking yourself and not confident, then that's the way to ask yourself, is there a lack of self-worth? Is there a lack of self-confidence that I'm feeling I'm being judged by this colleague of mine, right? So it has got nothing to do with professional and personal, but if there is a personality trait, then it's definitely worth checking. Otherwise, it's absolutely normal to be formal at work. We all have worked. Some of us are doctors, some of us are surgeons, some of us are from army, some of us are techies. We all know the boundaries between work and personal life. That's absolutely okay. But when there is something different, that's what you need to check, right? All right, so having created a list, you have to ask yourself that, is this personality trait justified, or is this something I'm covering up? And if this is a cover up, then why am I covering it up? What is stopping me from being my authentic self? Do I have a confidence issue? Do I have a self-worth issue? Do I don't feel enough? Then that's the space where we need to work on, right? So something that I want to leave you all with today is, obviously, having created that list for yourself. Secondly, I want you to understand the concept of affirmations. Okay. Now, this is the entry point into our healing journey. And this healing journey is going to go deeper and deeper, because tomorrow we are going to go into a very deep meditation where we are going to connect with this part of us that needs to be loved and healed, right? But before we do that, I want us to all understand what are affirmations. Affirmations is whatever we think and we say aloud becomes our reality. That's very important to understand that. Now, we could be saying something that is in the negative tone, that becomes our reality, or we could be saying something in the positive tone, that becomes our reality. Why? Why? Because our subconscious mind or our unconscious mind, which is the operating system for all of us, we are actually, just like our laptops and our phones have an operating system, we have our operating system. And that operating system is the subconscious mind, which is 80 to 90% governing our behaviors, our reactions, and our actions, right? And this is a storehouse of all the experiences that we have had from childhood till present day. And how does this operating system work? It has no self-intelligence. It absorbs like a sponge in water absorbs. Our subconscious absorbs all the messages that it receives. It has no filter. And this is the most active between the first 10 years of our life. Very active, because a child doesn't understand the good and the bad, the right and the wrong. It only follows what its nurturers and carers tell it. And that's it. That's why it downloads. What Mr. Jani was talking about, genetic, is exactly like that. It just downloads the information from its environment, and that becomes its reality. So thoughts like, life is not easy, you have to work hard. Money doesn't grow on trees, you have to work hard to earn money. We are not born in royalty. We are the people who need to work hard. We are middle class. A lot of times you'll see that the amount of money you make will be very similar to the amount of money that your parents made, perhaps. Very few of us break that glass ceiling, because these are the unconscious beliefs that we have absorbed. So be very careful of these, right? Because then we hand them over to our progeny, our children, or other people that we have in our lives. So this is something is called auto-suggestion. This is the way our programming happens. These belief systems program us. Now, what is the way to change these belief systems? That's the most important thing. How do we change these belief systems? A, by recognizing that they are there. We should know our enemy to face it. If we don't know it, then we are fighting a lost cause. Know exactly what your challenges are. Write them down, list them down. And that has been the point of today's session, uncovering and unlayering, right? Secondly, start making counter statements. And those are affirmations. So what are affirmations? Things that I am ready to start noticing my value. I am worthy. I am lovable. From this day onwards, I choose to speak lovingly to myself. These are called affirmations. Affirmations are small statements that are said in the positive. They are said in the present moment, and they are given to our subconscious to reprogram it. It's like literally writing a new software program for your subconscious, right? I take full responsibility of my life. It is okay for me to ask for help. From this day onwards, if suppose for one of us confidence is an issue, suppose public speaking is an issue, a lot of us can't express ourselves with our teams, a lot of us can't express ourselves at workplace because we feel that I'm not good at expressing. It could be even coming from something that my English is not good. Unfortunately, in India, we judge people by the level of their expertise in English. And that is actually a downfall because a lot of us don't grow in our careers because of that. Right? So every time you notice that there is a challenge in your personality, write that challenge down and then find a counter statement. I am beginning to accept my power. I'm slowly starting to get more and more confident. I acknowledge that maybe you have only 50% self-confidence and the rest of it needs to be worked on. So you say to yourself, with each passing day, I'm becoming more and more confident. I am ready to become I'm ready to become this beautiful, confident version of myself. I can speak to my colleagues with confidence. I trust myself. I am unique, I am confident, and I love my growth. Because, see, understand one thing, our past doesn't have to be only rebuked. We are who we are today because of the experiences we have had. So it's very important for us to appreciate our life journeys and acknowledge them. I am growing from the lessons that I have learned in my life. And today is the day that I take charge. I take full and complete responsibility of my growth and well-being. I'm ready to love myself unconditionally. You can all listen to this recording again if any of these statements are feeling. Now, a lot of times what happens is, like I do a lot of, I know we have overrun by 5 minutes. Just bear with me for 5 more minutes and then we'll come to an end. A lot of times people tell me, I don't love myself. I'm actually very harsh with myself. I'm the worst critique because I was always told that you have to keep upping your game. If you don't keep upping your game, then you're stagnating. How will I grow if I love myself? How will I grow if I accept myself? Right? Now that's a huge thought process to have, that I can't do that. But understand that unless you acknowledge where you are, you can't move forward. Then you're chasing your tail. So yes, there is lots that I can do, but today I acknowledge and accept myself just the way I am. And I'm ready to work on myself. I'm ready. Today, I choose to speak kindly to myself. Right? I leave you with this fact of neuroscience that tells us why we are the way we are. Neuroscience tells us that anything that is practiced again and again creates neural pathways in our brain, and that creates our personalities. Our personalities are not set in stone. They can be changed. But what changes them is when we practice and create new neural pathways. Today, if we are all put in a room and asked to learn how to play an instrument, for example, none of us know how to play violin. Now, the only way we can play violin is by learning the notes and practicing them and repeating them. And one day we'll be able to give a performance. Why? Because those neural networks did not exist in our brain, right? But now those neural networks are being created like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. It's like a child learning how to do alphabets. And slowly those neural networks are becoming stronger and stronger. So when we start saying positive statements, I am ready to forgive my parents. I'm ready to learn to love and accept my parents. I'm ready. And so when we say these statements, whatever be your statement, again and again, we are creating new neural loops. These neural loops will not get formed if we stay soaked in our stories and our challenges. It's very important to finally embrace your past, accept your story, but tell yourself, today is the day I'm going to rewrite my own script. I'm going to write my own software. I'm going to create the life that I wish to. And nobody is responsible. Oh, yes, I was born in a certain situation, but that's fine. Today is my day that I start reparenting myself. I become my best friend, right? And one of the key ways of doing that is by giving ourselves affirmations. So my homework for you is to write 5 affirmations for yourself. And these affirmations have to be small statements in the present, in the positive, and they can be something. Suppose you're saying, Nupur, I'm struggling to love myself. I can't love myself because I have so much to do. How can I love myself? Because there is so much wrong with me. Then I will challenge and say, can you write an affirmation saying, I'm ready to learn to love myself? There, you can always form affirmations. I'm ready to learn how to love myself. That's an affirmation. That's like kindergarten work. I may not know it, but I'm ready, right? So give yourself 5 positive statements, write them down, let them be related to your challenges, right? And a lot of times they will feel fake. It doesn't matter. In energy work, we say we'll fake it till we make it, right? So it doesn't matter whether they feel true or they feel false. Just trust me, write 5 affirmations, 5 statements in the positive, counter to your beliefs or your limiting patterns or your limitations, and then we'll do the further work tomorrow. Sounds good? Any questions, any thoughts, any doubts, please feel free to ask me now. Yes, Mr. Nagananda.
Yeah, Dr. Nupur. Basically, mostly they say that it is more easy to like program the subconscious mind, like when you are in a certain state of mind, like in that alpha state or like theta state, right? So do we need to get into some kind of a state
Not
and then
yet.
do the affirmation? Okay.
Not yet.
Okay.
So I will be talking about subconscious mind tomorrow in great detail.
Okay.
Right? So when we understand the subconscious mind, we'll understand that what are the various ways of accessing the subconscious mind. When we write affirmations and when we repeat affirmations, that is one of the key ways of reprogramming a subconscious mind, right? So we will definitely talk about the alpha, beta, gamma, delta, and theta states. I'll also tell you, because I'm going to be doing some meditations, I'm going to be doing some deep subconscious work. So I'll explain to you how we can actually then take these affirmations and give them and deliver them under alpha and delta and theta states. So we'll come to that tomorrow. But start by the groundwork of creating them first. Yeah. Wonderful. Anybody else? Any questions, any reflections, any thoughts that you want us to? Yes, Shruti.
I can just reflect on my latest experience of achieving a headstand, that I've been trying to do it for last so many months, and definitely my father, who is no more, but in a jokingly way, he would just be there around me telling me, no, headstand you cannot do, you will fall down. And I would not be able to raise my legs even by 2-3 inches. And my yoga coach would be like, it's just here. It's here. You can do it. You have core strength. It's here. And
Yes.
now I can reflect that how I changed my entire story. And I was like, okay, so if I fall down, then what? Maybe I should learn how to fall down well so that I don't hurt myself, and it's okay to fall down. So I would put a mattress around, and I think I fell almost 20 to 30 times in last month. But the story changed in my head, and I was like, I have to do it. I am doing it, and I'm so ready. And I actually one day just did it, and I was there for 1 minute. 1 minute.
That's huge.
People achieve after quite a number of
That's
minutes. So I realized
that's
how I train
amazing.
my mind and how I achieve it. So it's
And you were actually saying affirmations even without realizing what you were
without,
doing.
now I can reflect that I was actually, and today also, if I'm not able to do it, it's because my mind says no. And the moment
Yes.
I just catch myself there and I'm like, I'm ready and I will do it. And I'm not scared of falling because I've understood what falling is like. It's not like falling from,
A
first
tree or
floor
a
or second
25th
floor. I'm
floor.
just going to
Yes.
fall from 3 feet or 4 feet height, and that doesn't hurt. And the story changed, the affirmations changed, the inner critic thought changed. And I just thought that mind is so powerful. It either lets you do things or it just stops you. It's just mind game. And it's very
Exactly.
powerful.
See, this is such a powerful validation. Even before we have begun the, this is just the first session, and we already got such a powerful validation. So
Yeah.
everything is possible. What Shruti said is a very powerful thing, that we have to be aware. Start becoming aware of our self-sabotages. Becoming aware that where am I saying that no? Why am I fearing? When am I being small? A lot of times we shrink ourselves, we become small. Why? And the moment we are doing that, it is such a familiar space that we feel comfortable being small. We feel comfortable in being in that little space. But now we have to become aware. She became aware every time that no came, and she changed and flipped it with an affirmation. I have to do it.
I
I
also
am
thought
ready
that
to do it.
it's also important to know why it is so important for you to do. Like, why was it so important for me to do a headstand? For some person, it might not be even a need, you can do a general
Yes.
workout and that's not a requirement. So where was it coming from? Why I wanted to do that? I think that clarity also needs to be there. And then you have to go ahead and just do it
Absolutely.
before your
Absolutely.
mind
The
takes
why
over.
is exactly either we can live a life of limitation, or if we can continue to living small and feeling small. But none of us are ready for that, because we have signed up for this course. We really want to become the best version of ourselves. We want to get over our own limitations, our own selves. And that's the reason why we have to do this. So the whys are very personal. And that's a very good question to go back and ask yourself. Either I can continue living the way I'm living, or I can live limitlessly. So what is my reason for choosing? Why is this important? The patterns are a why. It's keep on repeating. The no's will keep repeating. The self-doubt will keep repeating. So find your whys. Ask yourself, what will happen if I continue living like this? Why do I want to change? And then go forward. Thank you, Shruti. That was very, very, very powerful.
And I don't hear my dad saying a no now when I do a headstand. So that
See?
no, that's the voice has gone. Now it
See?
comes in other things, and I'm like working on those things that, okay, now I'm hearing a no here. So I got to work on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. See how energy, the moment your energy shifts, the kind of things that you hear, listen, and come in your experience will change. And it all starts with those affirmations, which you were doing unknowingly. Thank you for sharing that. All right, so none of us are needing to do headstands in this workshop, but it's very interesting to know that, there is no limit to what we can achieve if only we trust ourselves. So thank you so much, guys. Appreciate you staying on. For some of us, it's later in the night. And shall we call it a day now and connect tomorrow? So please keep up with your homework, and let's begin the session with some affirmations tomorrow. I will give some examples of affirmations in WhatsApp group also. So before I sleep tonight, I'll share some.
Sure. Thank you.
Dr. Nupur, beautiful session.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Dr. Nupur. Thank you.
Thank
a
you.
lot.
Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.